The secret to surviving a long car journey is taking your shoes off and walking round on rug making fists with your toes. Hey up, Ravers. Yeah, had a long car journey. Me and Denise driven over to my daughter Maxine's house, exchanging Christmas presents and all that stuff. Maxine and her husband Greg, and the grandkids, they've gone out carol singing. Denise has gone with them. I didn't fancy that, to be honest with you. So I offered to stay in and look after the dogs. Hans and Carl. Perfectly normal names for a couple of dogs. I ain't much of a dog person, to be honest with you, but it's got to be better than going carol singing, ain't it? So, I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a Christmas theme review as we take a trip to Nakatomi Plaza for Die Hard. Yes, Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis as Detective John McClane, a New York police officer who was taking a trip to Los Angeles to visit his wife and kids for Christmas because he'd moved there after his missus offered a job a few months back. Now, John McClane is an everyman sort of bloke, normal bloke. And that comes across as he meets his limo driver, Argyle, who doesn't appear to have a Scooby what he's doing.
What do we do now?
I was hoping you could tell me. It's my first time driving a limo.
It's okay. It's my first time riding in one.
But they both come across as likeable blokes, straight off the bat. On the road, Argyle drops him at Nakatomi Plaza, where his wife works. And it's Christmas Eve, and he arrives midway through the Christmas party. Ain't got too wild, folk are a bit merry, but it hasn't reached the photocopying your arsehole stage of proceedings. And he meets his wife's boss, Mr. Takagi, and also meets this slimy work colleague called Ellis. Oh, this bloke is a slimy turd. We'll come back to him in a bit. But he reunites with his wife, Holly. But, fraught with a bit of tension. He's already negged off because he found out she's been going back to using a maiden name and not a married name. And consequently, a little bit of a row ensues.
We're going to have this conversation again. We did this in July.
We never finished this conversation in July.
Now, while this is cracking off, the building is slowly being taken over by terrorists, led by a very dashing and dapper looking Alan Rickman.
Son of a bitch. Fists with your toes.
And inevitably, the gate crashed the party, taking all the staff hostage, with the exception of John McClane, who has to make a rapid escape without his shoes on. So the scene is set as Alan Rickman, playing Hans Gruber, and his band of German terrorists hold the Nakatomi Corporation staff hostage, whilst John McClane is running around in his bare feet, trying to work out what he can do to solve the problem. Right, we've got these lovely Belgian chocolate biscuits that we bought. You have to bring a present, don't you, when you come visiting, but Denise said I could have a couple. Just got to make sure the dogs don't get any. Because I don't think they're good for dogs, are they? Besides, them greedy bleeders will eat the lot. I've seen what they eat. Got bollocks! They're in! Oh, bloody hell! Now, despite being outnumbered, McClane starts to pick off the terrorists one by one, and he lets Gruber know that he's chucking a spanner in works.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
But McClane's just on his Todd, and he can't take all these terrorists down on his own. He needs some help. And after commandeering a walkie-talkie off the terrorists, he contacts the police, who don't seem to believe him. But reluctantly, they do send an officer to investigate the disturbance. Enter Officer Al Powell, who's just winding down on the back end of his night shift. getting his son a load of cakes from the shop. Now he pops down to Nakatomi Plaza to check it out, but he doesn't seem out suspicious. So seeing that he's about to bugger off, McClane sends him an improvised message. Now this is when things really kick off, because the LAPD roll up in numbers. And this is where we start to get introduced to all the fantastic supporting characters. There's very few, if any, characters in this what don't have any character. All very well written, rounded characters. You feel like you know them. Remind me of a 1970s movie in some respects, because in 1970s movies you often had great supporting characters, very well written. And this was the same. Whether they were well written or well acted, I don't know, but either way, they're great. And as I say, we've already met Argyle and Al Powell on the side of the good guys. They're very likeable characters, these blokes. But one of the things that makes this film so entertaining for me is all the arseholes you got in it. It really is a rogues gallery of arseholes. I don't know if there's ever been a bigger collection of arseholes in a film than this. It's like the top trumps of arseholes. Just as soon as you've been introduced to one arsehole, a bigger arsehole then turns up.
Frequency talk, huh?
And when I say top trumps of arseholes, I mean I'm talking the really good cards. You know, they'd all be really high up on the cards. They'd be like Dracula on the horror cards, or King Kong. You know, as soon as you got that card, you think, oh, I'm going to win this one because I've got Dracula. Horror 1800, give me your cards. You know, they're that level of arsehole. They'd all score very highly on the Die Hard Top Trumps Arseholes collection. Al Powell's boss, Dwayne T. Robinson, he is a prize arsehole, this bloke. Just one of them classic Miggle managers. Couldn't do your job, but can't wait to slag you off and stick the knife in. Stupid idiot. And then when the FBI turn up later on, he's just brown-nosing the FBI. It's just embarrassing. Absolute pillock, this bloke. Talking of the FBI, you've got Johnson & Johnson. Not to be confused with Thompson & Thompson from the Tintin books. Or Johnson & Johnson, manufacturers of baby powder and the like.
This is Agent Johnson. No, the other one.
No, this is Special Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson. And these pair are stupid, no. Couple of arrogant tossers. Right pair of Johnsons. Now, amongst the terrorists, we've got Theo, the computer whiz kid. Oh, God, he's a geeky weasel, this bloke.
Oh my god, the quarterback is toast.
Insufferable. Absolute arsehole. And whilst all this kerfuffle is kicking off, the TV stations are all over it. And we see this TV anchor, who quickly reveals his sent to be an arsehole and all.
The hostages should be going through the early stages of the Helsinki syndrome.
As in Helsinki, Sweden.
Finland.
Stupid, arrogant pillock. Maybe not quite as big an arsehole as the roving reporter Thornburg, though. This bloke, brilliant at portraying arseholes. He played exactly the same arsehole in Ghostbusters.
Well, you can believe Mr. Pecker.
My name is Peck.
Yeah, he must have been very well loathed, this bloke. Slimy turd. But I reckon perhaps the biggest arsehole of the lot is that Ellis bloke. He really is an absolute slimy turd, weasel-faced arsehole.
Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
Would not hesitate in driving you under a bus. Total and utter shitbag, this bloke. Now, maybe it's because there's just so many arseholes in this film. But I found myself at times hoping that Hans Gruber and his mates would get away with it.
Because I am interested in the $640 million in negotiable bearer bonds that you have locked in your vault.
What kind of terrorists are you?
Who said we were terrorists?
And I reckon that's mainly down to charismatic performance from Dickman. He's absolutely brilliant in this. We saw him the other week, didn't we, as Sheriff of Nottingham? But this was his calling card, weren't it, for Hollywood? I think before this, he'd just done sort of theatre stuff. And I remember seeing him in a teleprogram called Barchester Chronicles with Donald Pleasance. But I don't think he'd really done out big. And he's just fantastic in this. Very menacing, very threatening, but he's sort of cool as well, you know, he's a cool customer. And I know I've previously spoken about Robert De Niro's micro twitches, what he does with his eyebrows. Mark of a brilliant actor, a micro twitch. Well, Dickman does something with his top lip here.
It's a very nice suit, Mr. Takagi. To be ashamed to ruin it.
I don't know what it is exactly he does, but it makes the delivery of the line a lot more menacing. Brilliant stuff. Now, Dickman also plays Hans Gruber with a lot of charisma. Very cunning.
I'm John McClane. You're,
Clay. Bill Clay.
Yeah, proper sneaky bastard. A very worthy adversary for John McClane.
Karl, schieß dem Fenster. Shoot the glass.
Yeah, because he spotted us in bare feet, hasn't he? Making life very difficult for McClane there with all that broken glass. Oh yeah, that's going to smart a bit, ain't it? Hey, I've never understood though why Hans Gruber has to explain to his mate Carl to shoot the glass in English.
Shoot the glass.
Don't really make any sense, that, does it? You'd think Carl would have understood the German, wouldn't you? But what do I know? And talking of his mate Carl, he's a very good henchman, this bloke. He's an imposing physical presence. Real nasty piece of work. And again, it shows the quality of the acting. Because the only other thing I can remember this bloke in were in Witness, where he were an Amish pacifist. So yeah, it shows his range, doesn't it? 1 minute he's an Amish pacifist, next minute he's a gun-toting psychopath. Very good. Now, because this film is so well written, all the characters have their moments, you know. Argyle gets to knock out the Weasley tech geek. Very satisfying moment, that. He's going to get sacked for writing off his limousine, but that's by the by, isn't it? And Al Powell has his own mini-character arc as well, because it turns out he's desk-bound after accidentally shooting a kid when he were on duty on the streets.
Anyway, I just couldn't bring myself to draw my gun on anybody again.
But in the climactic scene, he's called upon to save the day and wield his gun again and murder somebody. He'll have to get signed off due to suffering from PTSD flashbacks now, won't he? And Mrs. McClane's great in this and all. She don't put up with any shit from the likes of Ellis or Gruber. And she gets her moment at the end when she gets to deck Thornburg. Happy days. But I've got to give a special mention to Bruce Willis, because he's terrific in this and all. As I say, he comes across as a very likeable everyman. Very flawed individual, out of his depth you might say, plunged into extraordinary circumstances. And this were a star-making turn for Bruce. I reckon it was this film what kick-started his Hollywood career. And he was great at delivering the one-liners.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Now that was such a popular line, it became his catchphrase. He said it in every subsequent Die Hard film after that.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Now apparently that was something that the singing cowboy Roy Rogers used to say on the Roy Rogers show. Not the motherfucker bit, obviously. That were Bruce doing a bit of lewd embellishment.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Wonder who the British equivalent would be. You know, singing entertainer. Probably be George Formby, wouldn't it? Yeah, I suppose he's the closest thing I can think of to a British version of Roy Rogers. He wouldn't say yippee-ki-yay though, would he? What would he say?
Turned out nice again, hasn't it?
Well, I don't know if it turned out nice again, it'd have the same effect. But, you never know. Right, it's no good. They're in the kitchen with all the biscuits. If they eat all them biscuits, I'm in for a proper bollocking. I'll have to lure them out through the door to the kitchen diner and then make a run for it through the living room door. Oh, bloody hell, they're coming. Right, it's now never. Ah, the grandkids' Legos all over the carpet. Bollocks! Oh, you bugger! Okie-do, on to Ray's ratings. Well, to be honest, I was just expecting a bog standard action film. This, I was expecting a 3-star film. But I've got to say, what a brilliant action film this is. Fantastic action film. Very well written, very tightly written. But for me, the thing that puts this well above all the other action films is all the characters in it. They're brilliant. Bruce is great, Dickman's fantastic, and there's so many arseholes in there that you want to get the comeuppance. And they all do, you know, brilliant stuff. So I'm rating Die Hard a 5-star, 3-star film. Now, it were a big hit, obviously. And as I say, spawned loads of sequels. Second one's alright. Third one was pretty good. It's got Samuel L. Jackson in it. And he does some of his trademark shouting.
Zeus? Yeah, Zeus, as in father of Apollo, Mount Olympus. Don't with me or I'll shove a lightning bolt up your ass. Zeus, you got a problem with that?
Yeah, very entertaining. Now, I'll be honest, I can't remember much about the fourth or fifth ones. Well, I seem to remember they got progressively dafter as the series went on. But, yeah, there you go. Yeah, thank God it worked. There have been minimal casualties. Most of the Belgian chocolate hostages are safe and sound, and Hans and Carl are trapped in the living room. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. Turned out nice again, hasn't it, motherfuckers? Well, hope you enjoyed my festive review of Die Hard. And if you did, poke the old like button for me. Give it a good old poke. Or if you're a dog owner, maybe you've got a very well trained dog, and get the dog to poke it for you. Not like these pair. Bloody hell, they ain't well trained. They're wild. Off the chain they are, them pair. Any road, share, rate reviews with your mates, and subscribe to my channel if you ain't already a subscriber. Much appreciated. And thank you for all your fantastic comments, what you keep putting on. I love reading them. Apologise, I can't get around to responding to them all. But thanks ever so much. I really do appreciate it. Now, if you're in the Nottingham area this coming Monday the 18th of December, the wonderful folk at the Loft Movie Theatre are presenting a one-night only showing of Die Hard at the brilliant Savoy Cinema in Nottingham. Now, I got my tickets, but it was selling out. It was pretty close to selling out, so there might be a handful left. But yeah, if you snooze, you lose. So yeah, if you fancy seeing it on the big screen, and I heartily recommend it, check out the Loft Movie Theatre at the Savoy Cinema. See if you can pick up a ticket or two for that on Monday. I'll pop a link in the description below. And last notices from me. Appreciate I've been waffling on a bit, but last notices. Some exciting news. Race Night 2023 will return next week with an exciting sudden death knockout format. Ain't got time to do a league anymore, but there you go. But yeah, stay tuned. That'll be back next week. And I said this was going to be the last review of 2023, but I changed my mind. Because what will Boxing Day be without a James Bond film? So I'll be back on Boxing Day with some Boxing Day Bond for you. And if I don't see you for Race Night next week, then have a cracking crimbo, and I will see you on Boxing Day. Okie-do.